Today's top stories. Malacanang orders Congress to break their impasse and pass the proposed 2019 national budget. President Duterte is no longer keen on allowing the legalization of medical marijuana. Carmen Town in Cebu is placed under a state of calamity as farmers and residents suffer due to water shortage. And Malacanang and other agencies express their condolences over the death of MILF Vice Chairman Ghazali Jaafar.
Good day, I am Miguel Hill. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang is urging Congress to reach a consensus on the proposed 2019 national budget soon. President Rodrigo Duterte himself expressed the need to resolve the budget so that government's projects can push through. Rom Dulfo has a story.
Despite the congressional leaders meeting with President Duterte, the Senate and the House have not reached a consensus on the proposed 3.757 trillion peso 2019 national budget. Senate President Vicente Soto III said Duterte only told lawmakers that he would not sign the budget if Soto does not sign it. He says the House appeared to have agreed with Senator Panfilo Lacson's proposal to revert to the ratified version of the budget bill. Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri says the Senate proposal was just to pass the ratified version of the 2019 budget, while the House insists on the line-by-line itemization and not lump sum appropriations. Following the meeting, Presidential spokesman Sal Panelo called on the Senate and the House to break the stalemate and pass an appropriations law that can help the government improve the lives of Filipinos. He says the executive has performed its constitutional task to submit its proposed budget and Congress must do the same. The government has been operating on a reenacted budget since January 1 after lawmakers failed to pass the bill last year due to allegations of pork insertions. The passage of the 2019 budget was further stalled due to allegations of last-minute amendments made by the House after both chambers of Congress ratified the bicameral conference committee report. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Prosecutors completed the preliminary investigation into the criminal complaints in the case involving illegal drugs that were smuggled into the country inside magnetic lifters. Assistant State Prosecutor Mary Jane Sitat, who heads the prosecution panel, received the position papers of the parties, including PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino. The case is now considered submitted for resolution by the prosecution panel to determine whether it will be sufficient to be filed before the courts. NBI Director Dante Gueran named more than 36 individuals allegedly involved in the smuggling of shipment of drugs through magnetic lifters. The NBI identified former PDEA Deputy Director for Administration Ismael Fajardo, Customs Intelligence Officer Jimmy Guban, and dismissed Senior Superintendent Eduardo Acierto as most liable for the shipment. The NBI also recommended charges against customs officials led by former Bureau of Customs Chief Isidro La Peña, District Collector Vener Bakiran, and others linked to the transaction. The Department of Public Works and Highways is looking to take advantage of the El Niño by continuing its dredging and desilting operations in Manila Bay. The DPWH says, though the effects of such weather conditions for some are damaging, for them it is advantageous as the waves and underwater currents are manageable to continue the cleaning activities. As of Monday, DPWH has collected approximately 3,000 cubic meters of silt and garbage, including 44 rubber tires. Last week, the DPWH led the launching of the DPWH Sagip Manila Bay to clean the 1.5-kilometer stretch of the Manila Bay from the Manila Yacht Club breakwater to the U.S. Embassy. President Rodrigo Duterte has signed into law a bill that requires motor vehicle owners to use child restraint systems when traveling with children. Republic Act number 11229, or the Child Safety in Motor Vehicles Act. The law aims to guarantee the safety and welfare of infants and children and prevent traffic-related deaths and injuries. The Department of Transportation Philippine Information Agency, Department of Health, Department of Education, and private agencies and organizations must undertake a regular information, education, and communication campaign on the new law. Other concerned agencies such as the PNP Highway Patrol Group, Metro Manila Development Authority, and Council for the Welfare of Children must promulgate the implementing rules and regulations on child restraint systems. Malacanang hits allegations linking President Duterte to some threats received by priests. And Senator Sani Angara wants water concessionaires to be investigated over the ongoing water shortage. More on these and other news around the metro from Benj Bondok.
Malacanang said it is unfair to point at President Rodrigo Duterte as the one behind the threats allegedly received by some clergymen. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the threats could be from various sources, including critics of the administration, enemies of priests, or pranksters. While the president criticizes the Catholic Church in some of his speeches, these are in general and are not directed at any specific individual. The president has already warned against attacking priests and bishops. Meanwhile, a portion of the Estrella Service Road will be closed for 2 years to give way for the repair of the Estrella-Pantaleon Bridge. The bridge connecting Makati and Mandaluyong has been closed to motorists since January 19 for its widening. The closure of a stretch of Estrella Service Road will start at 11 p.m. on March 23. In other news, Senator Sani Angara wants water concessionaires investigated over the ongoing water shortage in parts of Metro Manila and Rizal. Angara expressed concern over the service interruptions by Manila Water due to El Nino, contrary to Maynilad, who is still able to supply water despite both getting their supplies from Angat Dam. He said lawmakers must form a long-term solution to the water shortage. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
Still to come, President Duterte is no longer keen on allowing the legalization of medical marijuana. Carmen-town in Cebu is placed under a state of calamity as farmers and residents suffer due to water shortage. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente. March 3, Lunes, Basilan. Dumalo si Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa groundbreaking ceremony ng Isabela City Gymnasium. March 4, Martes, Malacanang. Pinangunahan ng Pangulo ang 35th Cabinet Meeting sa Aguinaldo State Dining Room. March 6, Miyerkules, Malacanang. Nag-courtesy call sa Pangulo ang Deputy Prime Minister ng Vietnam at ang First Deputy President of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports of the Kingdom of Bahrain. Dumalo siya sa unang anibersaryo ng Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission sa Malacanang. Itinaas ni Pangulong Duterte ang rango ni Brigadier General Jose Ariel Niembra at itinalagang bagong commander ng Presidential Security Group. Pinanumpa niya ang bagong governor ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas na si dating Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno. March 7, Huwebes, Malacanang. Tinanggap ni Pangulong Duterte sa palasyo si Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad sa 3-day official visit nito sa Pilipinas. Nagkaroon ng expanded bilateral meeting sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at Malaysia sa paunguna ng dalawang head of state.
This is a valuable opportunity to renew and reaffirm valued relations that must continue to grow in strength in the coming years. With the Philippines and Malaysia staying on track as part of the growth engines of Asia and the world, broadening our engagement across many fields will be crucial for the continued benefit of our nations and peoples.
My visit is, of course, in order to strengthen the relationship between Malaysia and the Philippines, and also, of course, to promote the cause of ASEAN.
Isang state banquet ang hinihanda ni Pangulong Duterte para sa Prime Minister at delegasyon nito.
And I believe there is no better time than now to acknowledge him as a friend, partner, and brother. to Malaysia and the Philippines, may our country flourish and grow for 1,000 years. Mabuhay!
Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar at ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The president is no longer in favor of the legalization of marijuana even for medicinal purposes. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says President Rodrigo Duterte is unlikely to allow the legalization of medical marijuana within his term and risk the spread of addiction in the country. Panelo says the lack of findings on the effectiveness of medical marijuana could be the reason for the president's reluctance. However, Duterte may still change his mind if definitive findings confirm its advantages. Earlier, Panelo said Duterte changed his mind about the legalization of medical marijuana, noting that the chief executive may want more safeguards before its use is allowed in the country. A consumer group has appealed to President Duterte to cancel the franchise of Manila Water for its failure to curb the so-called water crisis in Metro Manila. United Filipino Consumers and Commuters President R.J. Javella says despite the millions of pesos collected by Manila Water from consumers, it has not prevented water interruptions and shortages. He says Manila Water is launching numerous projects at the expense of consumers, and it must reveal to the public where it is getting its supply of water, as well as what happened to its 15 cubic meter replacement project and the Wawa and Laiban Dam projects. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, is not considering banning the use of the Boeing 737 MAX 8 to and from the country. CAAP spokesperson Eric Apolonio says they cannot ground the use of a type of aircraft unless requested by International Civil Aviation Organization. Many people have raised concerns over the safety of the B737 MAX 8 following the Ethiopian Airlines crash that killed everyone on board last Sunday. And the same type of aircraft also crashed in October 2018, killing 189 people on board a Lion Air flight. Singapore, Malaysia, China, Fiji, and New Zealand are just some of the countries that suspended the use of the B737 MAX 8, while South American countries are evaluating shutting their airspace to the said aircraft. Executives of the Philippine Airlines and Cebu Pacific, as well as AirAsia Philippines, told the Philippine News Agency that they don't have the B737 MAX 8 and that most of the aircrafts of budget carriers are Airbus models which are designed for low-cost travel. Carmen, Cebu has been declared under state of calamity as farmers and residents suffer scarcity of water. The local government is still assessing if there is a need to put other towns and cities under a state of calamity. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture said it is ready to conduct cloud seeding to induce rains as farmlands in Central Visayas start to experience the effects of the dry spell. DA Region 7 has mobilized its quick reaction team to monitor the effects of the dry spell. It also tapped alternative sources of water to augment the supply of existing irrigation systems. Over 100 fire incidents hit the Cordillera region since January. Meanwhile, 3 Abu Sayyaf leaders are reportedly killed in Maguindanao. More on this and other stories from the provinces from Janice Cave.
165 fire incidents have been recorded from January 1 to March 12 this year. The Bureau of Fire Protection and DENR Cordillera said majority of these incidents were grass and forest fires which have destroyed 797 hectares of forest lands. The BFP estimated the cost of damage due to fire incidents at 20.94 million pesos. Among the causes of forest fires were kaingin, arson, indiscriminate throwing of cigarette butts, unattended burning of garbage, and campers who are unable to control the fire from their food burners. In Maguindanao, 3 top-ranking leaders of the Abu Sayyaf were reportedly killed in an ongoing aerial and ground assault with the military against Daula Islamiyah terrorists. 6th Infantry Division Commander Major General Cirilito Sobihana says they are confirming intelligence reports that Salahuddin Hassan, Commander Bastardo, and Singaporean terrorist Mauwiya were among the 20 terrorists killed in the bombardments. The military has taken control of the enemy stronghold while the rest of the terrorists have scattered. In Iloilo, the AFP clarifies that the murder of a student in Dumanga has nothing to do with ROTC. Suspect Elmer De Silao is a graduating student who is not enrolled in ROTC, while victim Willie Amihoy was a first-year student with whom he had a personal grudge. AFP spokesperson Edgar Arevalo dismissed allegations by Anak Bayan that the crime happened due to violence taught by ROTC. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, Malacanang and other agencies expressed their condolences over the death of MILF Vice Chairman Ghazali Jaafar. A statue of St. Vincent Ferrer in Pangasinan is eyed to take the world record for the tallest bamboo structure. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders. Former MILF First Vice Chair for Political Affairs Ghazali Jaafar has died at the age of 75. The chairman of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission succumbed to a lingering illness at a hospital in Davao City at about 1 a.m. Wednesday. Professor Rabi Angkal, the family spokesperson, said the remains of Jafar would be brought home to Sultan Kudarat, where he would be buried under traditional Muslim rites. The MILF organization, led by former MILF chair and current interim BARMM chief minister Alhaj Murad, are expected to attend the burial ceremony of Jafar. Malacanang hailed Jafar as a warrior of peace for his contributions in bringing peace to Mindanao. The National Commission on Muslim Filipinos and the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process also expressed their condolences to the family of Jafar. In our foreign news, the Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore ordered the temporary suspension of Boeing 737 MAX flights into its airspace. The suspension comes days after Ethiopian Airlines crash on Sunday, which killed 157 passengers and crew. A Lion Air crash involving the same aircraft model killed 189 people in Indonesia last October. The European Union's aviation safety regulator also suspended all flights in the block by Boeing 737 MAX. Britain, Germany, and France joined the wave of suspensions of the aircraft in the wake of Sunday's crash and was swiftly followed by a similar decision by India. Boeing said it understood the country's actions but retained full confidence in the 737 MAX and has safety as its priority. In sports, swimming internationalist Michaela Jasmine Mujde pulled off another sterling performance in her budding career, winning 6 gold medals in the 2019 Age Group Champs swim meet in Tokyo, Japan. The top aqualass of the Philippine Swimming League in the girls 11 to 12 division ruled the 100-meter breaststroke, 100-meter butterfly, 200-meter individual medley, 100-meter individual medley, 50-meter butterfly, and 200-meter freestyle. Her mother, Joanne, served as team manager of the PSL team sent there. Moijde previously bagged 8 gold medals and set 7 meet records in the Beijing All-Star Swimming Championships held last month. Bayambang, Pangasinan is building a statue that may put the town in the record books. Once completed, the statue may be known as the world's tallest bamboo structure. Janice Cave has the story.
A 51-meter tall St. Vincent Ferrer statue located at Barangay Bani in Bayambang, Pangasinan will be finished and inaugurated on April 5 this year. Mary Claire Judith Phyllis Jose Kiambao, wife of Mayor Cesar Kiambao, said the blessing and inauguration ceremony is in time with the 400th founding anniversary of the St. Vincent Ferrer Parish Church and the 600-year death anniversary of St. Vincent Ferrer. Jose Kiambao thought of the project as she and her husband are devotees of St. Vincent Ferrer. Once completed, it will be an entry to the Guinness World Record for tallest structure made of bamboo, a historical milestone for the Bayambangueños which the present and next generations will see. The prayer park where the statue is being constructed measures 21,000 square meters. Based on the master plan, it will have 5 meters wide pathways for persons with disability that will pass through the 15 stations of the cross. It will have a chapel, 3 events place, and a parking space that can accommodate 120 cars. The St. Vincent Ferrer statue facing the east will be illuminated with lights. It can be seen even from the neighboring towns of Bautista, Alcala, and Basista. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
Malacanang orders Congress to break their impasse and pass the proposed 2019 national budget. President Duterte is no longer keen on allowing the legalization of medical marijuana. Carmentown in Cebu is placed under a state of calamity as farmers and residents suffer due to water shortage. And Malacanang and other agencies express their condolences over the death of MILF Vice Chairman Ghazali Jaafar.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Miguel Hill. Good day.